I want to welcome everybody. Happy Filipino American History Month, hashtag FAHM-2020. My name is Dr. Pat Lindsay, Pinky Catalia Busqueno. Many of you call me and know me as Pinky, family and friends, organizers. I am so privileged and honored to be your president here for the FANHS-HTX chapter. So today it is all about celebrating this History Month and learning more about it and what's happening in this area. So what will we be discussing today? So we will be discussing, first and foremost, our town hall agreements, the purpose of our event today. We're going to have a special welcome by our FAHNS National President. We're going to introduce our Filipino American History Month theme along with our special guests. We're also going to honor the memory of several of our Filipinx who have passed away from COVID. We are also going to discuss, why you should become a member of FAHNS-HTX, and then of course, how can you celebrate, this month? And we have come together with Texas Familia activities for everyone to participate in all over the state of Texas. And at the end, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to see your camera. We're going to open it up to the floor and get to know each other. Okay? So that's what's for today. And so for our town hall agreements, right, we want to just make sure you step up and step back, meaning if you have been speaking a lot, then, let's allow other folks to speak, so step back. If you haven't spoken up yet and would like to, please go ahead, initiate, step up, let us know, put it in the chat box. We're here to, of course, all actively listen to each other. We'd also appreciate it if we had one person at the mic. So if you're not speaking, please mute your mic. This is a brave space. We are not quite sure if we can, we want to make sure that the space is going to be a space where anybody can speak their mind, and it may be a tense or challenging topics, but we are here to encourage everyone to be brave enough to share any stories or cuentos or experiences that they have. And whatever is learned here, we hope it leaves here so that it goes into your families, into your communities, and kind of spread the word about, what we're doing today. We also want to respect people's lived experiences, and we also encourage you to take care of yourself. So if you need to step away to go to the restroom, eat dinner, bring your dinner to, here to eat with us, or bring your family and gather around, we welcome each person, to do that. So that's our town hall agreements. Okay, so what is the purpose of our town hall today? It is to kick off Filipino American History Month activities. Can I get a yay in the chat box, right? We're so excited, and you will soon find out that this is not just, a one-time thing that's happened. No, this has been happening and occurring for many years, on a national level, and we're going to learn a little bit more about that. And also, we're going to have a chance to honor our history and our local Philam community members today. And so you're going to see a little bit of that today. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to honor and preserve the memories and the history. And we're going to also have fun, and we're going to win some prizes. There's going to be some slides here where we're going to engage you, the audience, to answer. And of course, it's a first come, first win kind of game. And so you'll see that when we do that, okay? All right. And it is my honor. I'm so excited that we were able to lock in this guest speaker coming up here. I want to introduce to you Professor Emily P. Lawson. She is the FAHNS National President for the FAHNS Board of Trustees. Her website is there, emilylawson.com. And so let me tell you a little bit about Professor Emily Lawson. Emily Porciuncula Lawson was born in Seattle, Washington, and is the national president of the Filipino American National Historical Society, FAHNS. She was a founding chapter administrator of the FAHNS Los Angeles and FAHNS Michigan chapters, and was a member of the FAHMS New England chapter and the FAHMS Seattle chapter. She is a co-author of Filipino Women in Detroit, and her writings have been published in over 30 journals, magazines, and anthologies. For over 20 years, she's known as Auntie Emily. Professor Lawson has taught Filipino American Studies, Asian American Studies, and Women's Studies at the University of Michigan. An oral historian and spoken word performance poet, she has performed on radio and stage throughout the United States and Manila. Please go ahead and follow her on her website and on her Twitter and Instagram at Emily Lawson. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you a new Texan who is now living in the Fort Worth area, Professor Emily P. Lawson.
Yeah, you could unmute. Yeah. Thank you. Wow, what a really energetic introduction. Thank you, Dr. Pinky. I really, really appreciate it. I just want to thank the FANHS-Houston, Texas chapter for inviting me to greet you and give a welcome today. We actually have I think 3 or 4 other events going on right now or tonight, this evening. FAHMS Pennsylvania chapter had a Kamayan event an hour before this. The Now, which is an online Zoom session sponsored by our FAHMS Hampton Roads, Virginia chapter. They have an event going on right now with some of our friends from my home state of Washington and my hometown of Seattle, or Seattle, as my parents used to say. And then right after this is a bridge generation panel that I hope you all will try to make at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Central, I should say, with our founder and executive director, Auntie Dorothy, Dr. Dorothy Ligo Cordova, and our founding first vice president, Uncle Pete Jamero, and FAHMS President Emerita Vanjie Buell. So we thank Positively Filipino magazine for sponsoring that Bridge Generation panel. The Bridge Generation are those who were born to the pioneers, Manongs and Manangs, who had immigrated in the 20s and 30s, and their children are the Bridge Generation, who were born in the 20s, 30s, and 40s up to World War II. And we have a lot of those Bridge Generation folks in FAHMS, and a lot of them are beginning to pass away as they age. And so it's really important for us to be able to document their oral histories as well as all the other generations too. Today, I just want to highlight our Filipino American History Month theme. I think your other members of the Houston chapter will talk a little bit about it, but our FAHMS Board of Trustees, we have 27 members from all over the country on our Board of Trustees, and they have a committee. We have a committee, a Filipino American History Month committee, who for I'd say about maybe the past 10 years has chosen a theme for the month. And so this month's theme is the history of Filipino American activism. And so, yeah, you'll see my Filipinos for Black Lives t-shirt up here, my Dharma Ballins in the Heart t-shirt, all of which pay tribute to the activists who I am proud to have been friends and comadres with over my lifetime. I think you could look at our FAHMS-national.org website and see the background on why we chose this theme. You could also probably find our previous year's themes there. But where you're going to find a lot more of our memes are on our FAHMS Facebook page and Instagram page too. And so I just want to say a little bit about how I got into FAHMS and why Filipino American History Month is important for me. As somebody who grew up in Seattle, around a whole bunch of Filipino Americans, you know, we didn't exactly have Filipino American history in our curriculum, but I was very very fortunate to have been on the Filipino Youth Activities drill team when Uncle Fred Cordova, the founding president of FAHMS, came back to direct that. And I wanted to travel with the team. And so in order to travel with the team, you needed to do volunteer community work. And so I did that with FAHMS in the very early years of FAHMS. And then when I went to college, I became a student intern volunteer for FAHMS at our national office in Seattle. I hope you can visit one day. We have a National Pinoy Archives. We have no paid staff whatsoever, but we've managed to house our archives through generous donations and memberships from folks like you. But I volunteered there as a teenager, and little did I know that Auntie Dorothy Cordova was going to launch our first National FAHMS conference. And so I became the staff for that conference as a college student. And there were about 100 people there at that conference at Seattle University, and it was probably the most life-changing moment in my life. And I was able to meet other folks who really believed and lived the part of Filipino American history that I was hungry for. I even reunited or re-met my long-lost cousin, Oscar Peñaranda, who was a Kearney Street poet and a trustee emeritus of our national board. And there were other playwrights and elders who went on to become my mentors and really believed in me as a teenager. And so I never left FAHMS. I joined the Board of Trustees in 1992 as the youngest member of the board. Yeah, I was 2. And helped create 2 of the chapters in Los Angeles and in Michigan. And so, through my travels, I've lived a lot of places because I do teach Asian American Studies, Filipino American Studies, and it's almost like a military family, right? If you're an academic family, sometimes you go where the jobs go. And luckily, in every city I've gone to, there have been FAHMS people and FAHMS family, including here in Fort Worth. I'm actually teaching remotely now for the University of Michigan still, while my partner works at TCU. And so I want to thank Mark Sempello and the FAHMS-Houston chapter for giving me a warm welcome, and your Ate Christy for giving me a warm welcome too. I hope to connect with all of you after this COVID pandemic subsides, so I could actually see and eat with you. I'm still looking for the good Filipino food here. We found pretty good Mexican food, but I'm still looking for good Filipino food here. But I do want to encourage you to document your family stories, document your community stories, and in particular, this month and this year, we're focusing on the activism and the history of activism in our communities. Your chapter is, one of our most active chapters, even though it's one of our newest chapters, and I want to congratulate you on that, and you should be proud and celebrate that. It's hard to be an activist these days in America, and I know how hard it is to be an activist in Texas now. I came from Michigan. It was very hard to be an activist there too. Not so hard to be an activist in California, in Los Angeles, and Seattle, where I also lived, but very hard in the Midwest and in the South. So you have my encouragement, you have my empathy, you have my solidarity with you. I'm more than happy to consult with you, talk with you, write poems, speak truths, and whatever, lead workshops for you if you'd like. Anything you would like to do that's around Filipino American history, I'm very happy and honored to be able to do that. So I think I had some slides we wanted to share too.
Let me go ahead and show those slides.
And I didn't even test my mic. I'm not even sure if you can all hear me. Okay, I think you could because I could see several
Yes.
other people.
Yeah.
Their Maki Baka fist. Okay. On the slide, if you could see the screen, we are having an online auction for the first time. Usually this time of year, we have a dinner in Seattle as a fundraiser for our national office. We have no regular steady income for the FAHMS National
Excuse me.
Office, even though we have a, 3 rooms that we have to pay rent for. And so we're also we're hosting the next FAHMS conference in Seattle in 2022. And we'll be celebrating the 40th anniversary of FAHMS. And in 2024, we hope that your chapter will host the 2024 FAHMS conference in Houston. But instead of the dinner, we have a online auction that is happening. If you would like to donate an item, we really need some more items donated. I just talked to my comadre, Gail Romasanta, who you all generously hosted there. She says hello, loves you all. And she just donated 10 sets of 3 books of Journey for Justice, The Life for Larry Itliong, Beautiful Eyes, and I forgot one more, two Beautiful Eyes books. But she's in the lead now for this Auntie M's President Award that I'm giving. I'm giving bragging rights and shout outs on social media to the most creative donation to the auction from any FAHMS chapter or member. Usually a lot of chapters will donate baskets or gift certificates or something. So I'm going to give some props to whoever has the most creative donation. And then I'm going to give another award of props to whoever donates the most items. And so my comadre Gail is actually in the lead right now. And I think you could all surpass them. I think you could like try to find, what is it? Do you have some Filipino Texas barbecue? What is it? Do you have your great Filipinos in Houston book? Maybe you have that autograph, what have you. Get creative with it. Get it into our Google form that we have. Bibiana Cordova Shannon is our auction chair, and we have a Google form you could fill out and upload photographs and descriptions at tinyurl.com/FANHS2020 auction. So tinyurl.com/FAHMS2020, and then auction is in lowercase. Okay, so yes, we'll take gift certificates, we'll take services. I'm trying to talk my daughter into doing an art piece. I don't know, what should I do? A spoken word piece? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of gift certificates or something. If you'd like to do that, please just fill out the form. We'll even make those gift certificates for you if you're not crafty, or if you are crafty, donate whatever you're crafty at. We would love, love, love to have it. Okay, and then I think the next slide.
Yes, we'll take that challenge for sure, Auntie Emily, and we will do that. Now, I know the next slides you gave us were the handles for social media.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll introduce that, so you don't have to bother, mentioning those. We'll definitely take care of that and make sure everybody follows and likes all the pages.
Thank you all. You can reach me at FAHMS. No, how is it? Is it? Yes, I think it is. national.fahmspresident@gmail.com or emilylawson@gmail.com. Okay, if you need to reach me for anything. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Emily. Let's give her a round of applause. Claps, 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 or you can even do those reactions. Thank you so much. And before you leave, Emily, yes, Anthony, go ahead.
Oh, let's take a group photo, everyone.
Yes, I'll stop sharing and we'll put it on gallery view.
You can turn on your camera.
Turn your camera. Make sure you don't have lipstick in your teeth like I do.
I know. I know Anthony is a good photographer because when they came to Seattle, he took all these great photographs.
Oh.
If you want to hear about his trip, please join us on Saturday.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, that's Anthony Guevara. We're talking Anthony Publiano.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Right. Oh, sorry.
So everyone,
I put it on the chat at the our
Okay.
Cuento ng Calzada.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, ready?
Okay,
everyone?
everybody. I think we have 2 pages worth, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and
I'll take
smile.
Yeah.
Just count it down, Anthony P.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hold on, 3, 2, 1. Let me save that.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go to the next page. Okay,
So just smile anyways, because we don't know who's on the second page.
exactly. So 3, 2,
Okay.
1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
All
Got it.
right. Let's give it up for Emily. Thank you so much. Woohoo! So we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue with our program. We took our pictures, got that out of the way, and now we are going to have our first prize, okay? So get your chat boxes ready. In what year did the U.S. Congress recognize Filipino American History Month? Ooh. Let us find out. Type the answer in the chat box. Mr. Anthony P. is going to tell me who the first person who gets the answer correct will win a prize. You will see.
So far, we only have 2 responses.
2 responses. Okay, so who do we have here? Who answered?
Oh, Anthony Guevara, 2009. Anna,
Anna,
2007.
2007. Any other guesses? Nobody wants to guess? Okay, I guess those 2 years are taken, right? 2009. Okay. 1975. Good try. Okay, we're gonna find out the answer in the next slides, okay? You're gonna see who's gonna win. Okay, so the question is, what is Filipino American History Month, hashtag FAM 2020, and why do we celebrate FAM in October? I wanna hear from you all what you think the reason is. Please go ahead and put it in the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can share at this point in time. So I wanna see what you know. Okay, we have C. Jackson who said, arrival of Morro Bay, October 1587. My goodness, we have a historian in the house. And of course, C. Jackson, you are actually correct. As you can see here on the background of this slide, the House Resolution of 780 was passed on November 2nd, 2009. So Anthony Guevara, you have won the prize. Congratulations. And it was passed at that time through the advocacy of FAHNS, Filipino American National Historical Society. And at that time was, and is still being led by Auntie Dorothy Cordova and our late Uncle Fred Cordova. In 1992, they had discussed passing this resolution, and luckily in 2009, it was passed, and we are here to celebrate, you know, our historical experiences that we've had here as Filipino Americans here in the United States. And why do we celebrate, you know, FAM in October? Well, we answered that, right? It was the first arrivals of Filipinos, Los Luzones Indiones on Morro Bay, California. And that's why we have designated October as the month, okay? And so furthermore, what is the difference between heritage and history? And so sometimes we hear folks saying we are celebrating Filipino Heritage Month, or we're celebrating Filipino History Month. Well, just to clarify, make sure everybody is on the same page, we are celebrating Filipino American History Month, hashtag FAM 2020. And I pulled this quote from our current FAHNS national scholar, Dr. Liliane Villarraza, and she gave us a breakdown of what heritage versus history. So heritage is inherently those external manifestations of cultural identity that is distinct from how we experience life as a community in the United States. History, on the other hand, history is about the narratives and experiences, which is our narratives and experiences that occur here and how they are part of American history. And many of the times it's been ignored, marginalized, and dismissed. But by celebrating Filipino American History Month, we are dismantling, right, that ignorance, we are dismantling that marginalization, and we are not being dismissed. We are representing and showing that we have been here for years, decades, even centuries, okay? And so I have the wonderful privilege of introducing Christy Poiseau, our FAHMS, our newest FAHMS National Trustee Midwest Region Chair, as well as a lifetime FAHMS-HTX member. She started FAHMS Houston in 2015, and this year celebrates our 5th year anniversary. She's gonna talk a little bit more about examples of Texas activism here in the South. Let's give it up for Christy.
Thank you, Pinky, for that introduction, Dr. Pinky. So, you know, you'll say that I started it back in 2015, inspired by some personal stories that I had, but by all means, you know, I think I've been waiting for Pinky to also take over. So, but it's been, you know, it's something that resonates with me that Emily talked about was that, you know, activism in Texas is hard. And I guess I didn't realize it was activism when all I wanted to do was really tell a story or reveal the truth about history. That first started with the history of my family, with the Filipino veterans, but then also with the history of maybe my family with my grandmother. And then those actually link up to narratives in the national storyline. So it's a really amazing journey that I've been on. So this particular slide is important to help highlight the Filipino American History Month theme this month, which is activism. And you can see some photographs throughout time, you know, highlighting quite a few of our more, you know, prominent folks that we talk about a lot. And, you know, modern, you know, Black Lives Matter to Don Mabalan, you know, to, you know, the Manila Hotel there. So a lot of these events have taken place throughout the century, and some of them I didn't even myself know about because, frankly, in Texas, what do we learn? Texas history. I could tell you all about Daniel Boone and all that and the Alamo, but when it came down to Filipino American history or my own narrative and how it connects to the national narrative, I didn't really have anything like that. It's not part of systemic education. So that's why we are here today. And a lot of these, the reasons why that this is important, this is sort of a banner year, right, of social justice movements. And I think it's really timely to have activism as our theme this year, you know, and there's a lot of solidarity there in our communities. And I know that it's a difficult conversation to talk about activism in the Asian culture, much less in the Filipino culture, right? You know, we come here to work. We don't want to rock the boat. It's very difficult, you know, you don't want to get in trouble. And you know, but sometimes there's injustices that happen and you can't keep quiet about it. So, you know, I think you know, hats off to those who do have the courage to stand up in probably a situation where it's very difficult to do so, and you may not even have the support of your community at a time when there's a need for the justice. So also, you know, want to make sure that we recognize the advocacy, our Filipino American healthcare workers who are, of course, actively protecting and fighting for our lives every day amidst the global. It's, you know, we don't think about that as an activism, but in a way, you know, if you think about they're laying their lives down on the line and certainly standing up for a situation that not a lot of people are there on the front lines to do. Probably next slide. Pinky, do I have like 10 minutes? Because I could talk for like an hour. Just want to make sure. What's the timing on this?
Keep going. Keep going. You're doing great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I just want to please give me time check if I go off too much. So, all right. I'm going to go to the. If I go to the next slide.
Do you see it? The daily memes?
Oh, yeah. So thank you. Sorry. It looks very similar to the last one. So I wasn't sure if it kind of moved on. So I think that for the month of Filipino American History Month, we want to make sure that, you know, social media, we're all in our houses. Frankly, I'm trying not to look at social media as much, but, you know, it's become sort of our way to catch up with news and to stay in touch with some stories. And we know it's very much influential in our daily lives. So by all means, please follow FAHNS on Instagram and Facebook. And if you haven't, if you don't already have that, here are the hashtags for Filipino American History Month. If you yourself have something you want to post, maybe historically, that you found that maybe we don't even really know about that you want to highlight, please put a hashtag against it. But by all means, you could follow all these hashtags. And also we're on Twitter with follow FAHNS National. And FAHNS National, of course, make sure you like all the pages and all that. The local chapter in Houston also has their own hashtag, or rather handle. Did I say that right? Is my age showing?
Yes.
At FANHS-HTX. So that's a lot of the local stuff that's happening. But I follow all of them. I even follow other chapters myself, because sometimes if I decide to even visit a state that I've never been to, I want to see, we always want to find out where are the local Filipinos, and it's not always at the Jollibee where I want to find everybody. So by all means, you could look up the chapters and follow them on Facebook or their other social media areas. So I guess carrying on about Filipino American Texas activism, we as a trustee, of course, we're asked to submit some memes that are going to be featured this month. So all of us across the nation got together and compiled what we thought were significant times of activism in the United States. And of course, being from Texas, I want to try to highlight some of the things that happened here in Texas, because a lot of times I don't think, like I said, activism is hard in the South, right? And much less in Texas. So, but I do want to draw out those moments because they do exist. So the first one, of course, is near and dear to my heart because I'm very familiar with it. And what I talked about earlier on how activism started to play a role with me personally and it's how I actually met Anthony Guevara. So I'm going to blame Anthony for why I started FAHNS. It's your fault, Anthony. So, I learned a lot about my grandmother's story, and then I wanted to learn about my grandfather's story. My dad gave me a stack of his papers that were just collecting dust, and that's how I got started in understanding the narrative. And then when I read through his papers, I started to realize the injustices that he experienced as a World War II Filipino veteran. He had written congressman years and years and years, was rejected every time to try to see if he could acquire some kind of benefits. And in each time he was rejected, he wrote back saying he respectfully disagreed, but he was going to keep writing. And he kept writing till the day he died, unfortunately never getting to see any kind of benefits, much less a prisoner of war medal, because he was a survivor of the Bataan Death March. So that really kind of struck with me, because veterans are a really big deal here in Texas, much less in the United States. So I went on a journey to try to recognize, try to find, at least get a POW medal for my grandfather. And then I had the honor of meeting a few other people working on a Congressional Gold Medal for the Japanese Nisei. I got connected to the Major General Tony Taguba, who wanted to also help me. And so we recognized my grandfather. And when we met, he told me, Christy, I had just attended a funeral, a great funeral at Arlington Cemetery for my husband's grandfather. And I kid you not, the Blue Angels flew over his his burial site when he was buried, and there was a bugle and everything. It was gorgeous. But I met the Major General that day, and I told him about this amazing funeral I attended, and he told me, Christy, that's really great, but a Filipino veteran barely gets a bugle on a tape recorder. And when he said that to me, it really struck me that read more about the history. It just really, I decided I have to at least can I get my grandfather one POW medal? He survived the Death March, for God's sakes. Let's get him recognized. So we embarked on trying to pass the bill in Congress. They formed the FilVet Rep group. And then Anthony at the same time was like, Christy, you're already doing history stuff. You might as well form a FAHNS chapter. And so all those things kind of happened at the same time. And so, we can blame Anthony, actually, the original activist. I remember I was at a booth at the Adobo Hoedown, and I was trying to get signatures for a petition. And his mom comes up to me and goes, do you know my son? He's already done this. Who are you? And it was hilarious, because I was like, I'm sorry, I would like to meet your son. And little did I not, I didn't even know that our dads were like best friends at work. And I had never met Anthony up until that point. But maybe Anthony, you know, we've got a picture of you up. We could talk a little bit about some of your activism, because I think it's worth highlighting a lot of the work that you did over at A&M, and my goodness, you started, you know, some amazing things. And so I'm not going to steal your thunder and take away your script, but take it away and introduce yourself and tell us about all the stuff you've done.
Well, thanks, Christy, and everyone for having me. I mean, I just got off work, so it's kind of late. So it's great to have Filipino American History Month celebrated, especially locally. Yeah, and I mean, I did give Christy the idea because she was already doing that work. So, and yeah, she said that I was advocating. I mean, I've been in the community for a little while, for a few decades now. So, I mean, from my parents originally got here in what, late 60s, 67, 68, and then was involved in Filipino community stuff. But I think my journey kind of started some in high school and especially in college. I went to a Filipino Intercollegiate Networking Dialogue conference in the East Coast and found out about the veterans. And then I brought the head lobbyist to Houston, Eric Lichica, probably in 97. So you could do the math. That shows my age as well, how long I've been doing this. So, and then, and I was with the American Coalition of Filipino Veterans when they were still fighting for their benefits. And that's when there was a lot more people alive. And then I brought him to Houston, or he came to Houston, and we attended a veterans organization. And you can just hear their sobs, you know, their stories and sob stories of how they weren't recognized. They had to pay for the funerals out of their own pocket. They weren't getting anything out there, you know. So, and that was, and then it led me to even more activism, or if you want to call it. So I started the first Filipino American History Month celebration. I got inspired by Don Mabalan, the great Don Mabalan, and a lot of the people that I met through, you know, attending some of these conferences. So on October 19th, 1999, I started the first Filipino American History Month celebration in Texas. I didn't know of any other one. I've never heard of it. So that's why I'm claiming it. And it was at Isang Mahal at Texas A&M University. And it's it's going on 22 years. So pretty proud of that. And I'm still working with the students, actually. They're working, I think October 14th through the 16th, they're actually having 3 presentations, so everybody can kind of attend that. And this is from Filsa A&M exclusively. So they have 3 events that they're working on, you know, in the place of Isang Mahal. And Isang Mahal is kind of like a dance showcase, or it became a talent show, right? Which features not only Filipino American history moments and our contributions to American history, but also made sure that we were being recognized at a predominantly white University of Texas A&M. So was also involved in FAHMS Youth. Now I'm involved with NAFA, founding member of, you know, a few organizations here in the city, such as FAHMS, FAHMS Youth, member of PACC, FAHMS, anything Filipino I want to get involved with, pretty much Filipino American, right? So, I mean, if you want to get down with me. I mean, let me know. If I don't know your story, I would love to hear it. You know, I'm just here for the community. And with some of that activism, going back to the veterans, we helped pass a bill that, thanks Christy for this very informative, you know, I know we've passed a couple of HR bills for them, and one was called the Filipino World War II Filipino Veterans Equity Compensation Fund, where the veterans got a lump sum, you know, but it wasn't enough. The little money that they received or were getting offered still wasn't enough for all the years of injustice, over 60 years of injustice, you know, for fighting for the U.S. and not getting promised what they deserved.
But it's better than nothing, and it's because of people like Anthony doing this work, and as everybody has heard, you know, several decades, even starting not only as like a kid here in Houston, but throughout his education, and now even into his working adulthood. You know, this is the talent pipeline we need to continue growing. We need to continue multiplying more Anthony Guevaras, more youth, you know, because I know our elders out there are hungry for us to take on. So thank you so much, Anthony, for sharing your story.
But it's not 4 decades. Damn, girl, that made me feel old. Sybil, you older than me. You're tripping.
Get it straight. Get it straight. Okay, we're gonna keep going and moving forward with the memes with Christy. So thank you, Anthony.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
y'all.
Yeah. And just on a final note on Anthony's bit, if you've never been to an Asang Mahal, I think the last one Anthony and I attended, it was really like a room full of 800 Filipino students who were there.
It's not only Filipino anymore. I mean, it was like we had people from Oklahoma, and if you don't know, the college community for FSAs it's not even. It's probably like 20% Filipino, to be honest with you, nowadays. So we're still trying to. I know there's a challenge of trying to keep the Filipino and Filipino Student Association. So we're going to need everyone's help to do that and make sure our FSAs stay true to the meaning of FSA, right?
And they're all sitting through the Filipino American history wherever they are in Asang Mahal. So that's the cool thing about it as well. So, and then also thanks to Unipro, who was kind of, the Unipro in Texas, who kind of was born out of the, but a lot of you guys are from Texas A&M. Let's just say it, right? Not everybody, but
we'll have some representation. We're gonna talk a little bit more about, because we've got a couple of questions like, well, where is that going to be held this year? And we're going to actually talk about those activities at the end, so that we can make sure everybody can participate wherever they are, right? Especially virtually. So go ahead, Christy.
Okay, so moving along though, is Joanna Poe here today? I just want to. Yep.
I just joined.
Okay,
I've been trying to get hold of you people.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The show was on, so we were too busy with rolling film. So, but I'm glad you're here, Tita Jo. So I was going to read a little bit about the meme, and then maybe you want to yourself tell us a little bit about what happened, because I know this is going to be one of the memes that we're going to feature for Filipino American History Month. On your activism, you're sort of my, Rosa Parks of the bathroom story you always tell. But maybe I'll just hand it over to you. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about, what life was like when you first came to the States as a nurse.
Yeah. I'm Joanna Poe, and I just turned 77 years old. I have lived in Houston, Texas, Benton County for almost over 51 years, almost 52 years. I came in the late 60s, and one of the first Filipino group who was sponsored to come to Texas Medical Center. And one of the things that I noticed immediately was even our own co-Filipino who saw us struggling, trying to get to the dormitory, were not very helpful. But what I found out when I first arrived was we were not welcome. Even the dormitory manager was not ready for us, and I have no choice. I have to go to the hospital and ask for the director to talk to me. And the line was long, but I went around and got the security guard, and I was able to talk to him, and we were able to be accommodated that night and the whole week, because the next Monday we are supposed to report to duty. When I reported to duty, and these are some of the personal challenges, changes, and opportunities that I had been through, and I'm still going through some of them. One of the things that I had noticed immediately during the orientation program, as we were getting together, I noticed that there was black and white cafeteria, black and white bathroom. And when I asked the instructor, which bathroom are we going to use? And she told me, you can use either way. So I learned not to use the bathroom in the hospital. I have to go to the dorm to use the bathroom because I'm afraid I will be chastised by the people that don't recognize our color. But it was one of those things that even in the dormitory, I was given an American roommate from East Texas. The first few days we were not talking, but I made it a point to talk to her. And when her parents visited, they will not even come in our room because they saw me. So those are just things that I have to bear in mind, but I overcome it, I think, because it's our individual ability to approach people in a friendly way instead of being show office or standoffish among other people. Now, when I was assigned to work in a cardiovascular floor with, that was the beginning of open heart surgery. It was a step-down unit where all the Filipino nurses were assigned to work evening shift or night shift. I was one of those who was assigned in the night shift, but I cannot do it, so I requested to be transferred to day shift. That's where I noticed more and more challenging that I have to face and I have to voice my opinion. I was labeled as a troublemaker because no Filipino stood up, no Filipino nurse stood up and questioned authority. I was not questioning the authority. I was asking clarification on what we are supposed to do and what we can do. Why is it that we are only allowed to work second shift and third shift instead of morning shift? One of the reasons given to me was that because your English was not clear. So I also learned to speak very slowly and pronounce the word I wanted to emphasize. I became a cardiovascular nurse specialist because of the challenges I was facing. And the more I learned, the more I noticed that patients who had open heart surgery had problem going to x-ray when they come back to me. The more I give and provide service to the patient different from the other nurses, the more I was challenged that I should not be doing that. I should be doing the routine one instead of making my patients comfortable. And I feel those patients need my help because their life depends on me and their recovery depends on me. I met one American New Yorker who was assigned in Japan as a soldier. He will not even allow me to touch him because he don't care for Asian nurses. But my head nurse, who was a white head nurse, said that only Joanna Poe can do the care that you need. So allow her to do what she can do, and then after that, I will ensure that you will get a nurse, another nurse. So I took care of him. Every time I touch him, I have to let him know what I'm doing to do, and also made him as comfortable as possible, made all the necessary things that he need. And finally, when it's time for him to go back to bed, he don't want to go back to bed. He wanted to sit down and wait for his wife. When his wife came, the first thing the wife said was, I want to see the nurse who took care of my husband. By then I have palpitation because I know I did the best I could. But the thing was, the wife wanted me to see him so he can apologize. He can apologize of his behavior and that he was engaged to a Japanese person, but the parents will not allow him to marry her. And that's the reason he don't want to see any Asian nurses. So anyway, going back to back.
That's amazing stories you've got, Tita.
It's still, but see what happened was the hospital benefit because before they left, they donated a big sum of money to the hospital. And at the same time, even though he was transferred to the regular floor, every day I receive a special lunch from them, which I shared with my colleagues. And so we have special lunch every day. So going back to radiology experience I have, I started noticing all the problem that the patients faces after they have x-ray. So I started documenting them, and then I started asking my colleagues to do the same thing. Once I got all the data, I presented to the higher ups, not realizing that in few months they approve it. By then I was already an assistant head nurse, the first Filipino assistant head nurse.
Wow.
And then the position was created. to lead the radiology department for nursing and to develop the program. But in my proposal, I recommended about continuum of care, documentation, and also improve the exchange of information about the patient status before, during, and after the procedure. So those are the things that how radiology nursing was created in the Department of Radiology, and I had the opportunity, which is recognized, and I sent to Christy during the centennial celebration at the Methodist Hospital, that I was the one who established and developed developed and created the Division of Nursing in the Department of Radiology. With that, I had started calling people outside Methodist and see if there are nurses working in radiology. And then I got together and also formed the Texas Gulf Coast Radiology Nursing Group. That's the very first one in the entire United States, and it was developed in 1978. By then, I got exposed to all the salespeople, to all new technology, the new MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, the computer tomography. So I was very much involved in changing the care of the patient that they received before, during, and after the procedure. Because of my exposure to all the sales rep and also my exposure to the American College of Radiology, I was invited to represent Methodist to the Radiological Society of North America, that's all over the world, who make different types of X-ray machines, all the different drugs, the physicists, and all of that. And that's where I met nurses, and we formed the International Organization of Radiology and Imaging Nursing. And that was in 1981. So pretty soon we will be celebrating our 40th get together. By then, I was exposed to all the other hospitals at the same time, different companies, and I became a consultant, not only for the lawyers, but also for the doctors and different organizations. I became a president of that organization, and I'm still actively participating both in the local and international.
Y'all, she's still active. And Tita said she was 77 years old, y'all. She is still an activist to this day, and it puts people like me to shame. Y'all, we gotta give Tita Joanna a round of applause for sharing her cuento tonight. And when we say when we say that there aren't any activists in Houston or Texas, I mean, we've got a multi-generational here. We've got from Tita Joanna Poe all the way to Anthony, and then very soon you're going to see some other folks who are probably youth in comparison to us talking about the activities that will be happening. So yes. C. Jackson said yes, awesome. Everyone's clapping. So thank you so much, Tita Joanna Poe, for sharing that story for us. And
Christy, excuse me, Christy,
yes,
the one I sent you, that's when I became the president of the organization. And we went to Massachusetts, and then we had a meeting. And as I walked in as the president, that's when all the people turned around and looked at me. And one of the white members followed me, and then everybody looked at me. And I said, well, you know what? Thanks, just like everybody else.
No, she did not just say the S word. Okay, well, thank you. Okay.
And that's the bathroom story, right? You know?
Yes, that's the bathroom
But you are definitely, Tita Jo, a living legend. So thank you very much for standing up. So a lot of the nurses who probably I know, is a lot of the nurses who don't experience, I guess, maybe some tensions that Tita Jo did when she first came. I would like to say we stand on your shoulders.
I could not have done it with everybody's help, and you all did a great job. Anthony, Christy, all of you for having the Filipino American National Historical Society. We also did the Filipino Nurses Association here in Houston with Yufi Chua early on. We were the dancers, we saw our own costumes and all of that. We did all of those things in the early days. We made bayanihan here, and it was just fun because there's only a few group of Filipinos. So we met in Herman Park, and that's where I met my husband's sister. That's how I married another Filipino.
And there you go. That's the Filipino history here in Houston. Yeah. We came here to work, but we also found love. So, salamat po.
Salamat.
So, thank you.
Sorry, I interrupted.
So I know that. No, it's okay. I think we have to dedicate a whole other session just for you, because I feel like I want to sit here all day and just listen to your story. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time. So just to kind of quick, yeah. So thank you again, salamat tita. But just to kind of talk through a little bit, of course, there's so many other memes that I could talk through. You look forward to the memes being posted in the every day of the month at the Filipino American National Historical Society web pages. We're going to talk a little bit about also nurses' rights and also the threat of deportation for some of the nurses when they were scared to have their H-1 visas taken away. Tita Yufi was involved in making sure that they passed their boards. And so there was some classes that they made sure that they set up so that some of the nurses who had trouble passing their boards, if you didn't pass your boards, you were probably going to get deported at that time. But then, of course, the laws changed because people like Tita Yufi and the doctors that stood up for them helped them through that time. But also here, what you have here are some other Filipinos in leadership. If you don't know, Gina Ortiz-Jones, of course, who's running for a seat over in San Antonio. It's a very heavily heated contest that's going on right now. And of course, Judge Toni Inderson, if you don't know her, she's also a living legend here in Houston. She's got her oral history story documented at Rice University, really an amazing story of how she just loved the judiciary and all the laws and how she rose up to become a judge here. And then also running for mayor is Jim Rocco Narvios. So he's in Stafford. So there's a lot of leadership in which we're stepping up. And also not mentioned is Nelvin Adriatico. He was also running for city council. But people are putting their step forward. Leaders are emerging, and in a way, it's an activism in a time in which they haven't. So I'm going to leave it at that. Would love to sit all day, but I know that we're short on time. But I think it's time well spent. So Pinky,
thank you so much, Christy.
Over to you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Christy, for sharing all those memes. And so once again, we've got a prize here. Hopefully you will win that prize. And here's the question. What is FAHMS' national theme for Filipino American History Month? Put that in the chat box. And the first person who does that correctly will win a prize. We will capture your contact information and mail the prize to you. So what do we have? Okay, yes, Joel, we've got something here, but what's the official title of the theme, right? All right, we've got activism, Filipino activism, history of Filipino activism, close but not the full cookie. I'm looking for the full title that was on the first major meme, okay? So if you don't know it, go to the website at FANHS-HTX.com. All right, that's what we want to see, right? But we're missing one piece that's in there, C. Jackson. Let's see if somebody can catch it. Not almost there, C. Jackson, not quite. Almost. Somebody type the whole thing again. Uh-oh.
It's your dryer.
Okay, all right. The drum roll is Joel Ringer. You are correct. The history of Philip. Well, not quite. Was that a train? It sounded like a train, didn't it? It was my dryer. It was going crazy. I apologize for that. I think it wanted to also contribute. I want to give the prize to somebody, but y'all, it's not in the order we need it to be. Yes. C. Jackson. Jackson, that is correct. The history of Filipino American activism. I know L trained in China. I was like, oh my God, what's happening here? So that is correct.
Oh,
C.
NAPCON
Jackson,
had
you
it
are
too.
the winner. Please go ahead and did they put, let me see. I apologize if I was at the top. No, I think we were missing a couple of words in there. I think C.
Oh, you
Jackson
wanted
got it. The history of
exactly.
Filipino American activism. Yes, yes. We got to get this straight. We got to get it right, you know? Okay, well, thank you so much for playing. Okay, so moving on to something that's very important and very, very serious, of course, in our community. This is the time where we want to honor our Filipino American Texans who have passed away from COVID-19. And so we kind of reached out within our networks to find out, but this is definitely not the comprehensive list of folks that we know, just some family members and friends that we knew personally, and we wanted to honor them today. So we're going to show a slide of each person and give a little information about them. And so we have here Arturo Lanozo Salazar. He was born in 1942 and passed away this year. He is survived by his wife of 46 years, Delta Salazar and his children, Arthur L. Salazar and his spouse, Ria Armada, Arthur G. Salazar, and Clarissa Salazar and the grandson, Noah Salazar Perez. We have here Ponciano, known as Tito Ponce, Manzon Perez. He was born in 1943 and passed away this year on August 10th at the age of 76. He is survived by his wife, Carmelita, of almost 48 years. Through their marriage, they were blessed with 5 children. Ian, who's married to Sam Quilla. Tristan J., known as TJ, is married to Caroline. Troy, who's married to Diana. Timothy, who is married to Sierra, and their youngest Ira, who's betrothed to Miles Machan. We'd like to honor Ophelia, also known as Tita Ping Reyes, who passed away this year and was born in 1952. She's survived by her husband, Felix, of 43 years, their 2 sons, Magnus Reyes and his wife, Stephanie, the other son, Philip Reyes, and his wife, Christine, and 4 grandchildren, Gabriel, Benjamin, John, and Avery. Last but not least, we have Erickson Hugueta Capulong, who was born in 1971 and passed away this year. He's survived by his wife, Sheila, and his children, Kyle and Kyrie, and also his parents, Enrique, Carmelita, and his sisters, Maria, Criselda, Cecilia, and Carmina. And so if you know of others that you want to honor, now is the time to type their names in the chat box so we can also mention them and honor them today. So we have Susan Hefty, who was involved with PCCI. If there are any others, feel free to type in their names at this point. I'll give another couple of seconds. And as we're thinking about those who have passed this year during this very, very hard time during this pandemic, and especially us discussing about Filipinos in the healthcare, we're also thinking of our frontline workers, not only in the medical industry, but in all the industries where you are at the front lines, helping in the community. We thank you, but we also want to take this moment of silence to honor all of those we've just mentioned and those who have passed from COVID-19. thank you very much for taking this time to step back and for us to be silent. These are our Filipino Americans. You know, these are our family members, our friends, our network, and their lives and the contributions that they have done here in our community will always be remembered. And so we thank the families and friends who were brave enough to help share this information. And we do hope and pray for other families out there who are going through this, that we continue to be strong and that we continue to support each other. Thank you. And so moving on, Sybil Sains is going to go ahead and discuss a little bit about our members. And this is a time because, you know, this is Filipino American History Month and we want to recognize the people who make up of our community, right? We just recognize those who have passed. We want to recognize now those who are part of our community and are continuing to do great work by doing so, as well as becoming now a member of our chapter. So Sybil, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Pinky. And you are doing a marvelous job. Isn't she, folks? Yes, let's give her a silent clap because this is not easy, y'all. This is very, very hard. Okay, so I just wanted to start off with membership by recognizing our members, and then I'll go into my little spiel about membership. So to recognize our lifetime members, we shall go to the next slide. Our very newest lifetime family member is Gerard Martyr, and he joined us this year. We haven't physically met him and his family yet, but we thank you for becoming a lifetime family member because you get it. You know why FAHMS is here and why it's important. So we thank you. Next slide.
Yeah, I think he is on today. I'd love to see his face.
Oh,
Quickly.
okay. Do we want him to talk? Yeah, let's have him talk.
Gerard, you there?
Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Awesome.
Yes.
There he is.
Hey, how's everybody doing? So here in the Dallas area, been here in the US since '86. So I lost my accent, if you will, having gone to junior high and high school through here and then joined Texas A&M, much older than Anthony and a few of the Aggies that are out here, and now work here in the Dallas area. So thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. And we would love to hear your stories, and hopefully one day we can all get together after this pandemic and really get to know everyone. So thank you. We have a lifetime to spend with you, Gerard. Okay, let me cancel. All right, our next lifetime member you already met, Manang Joanna Poe. She is a treasure. She is a walking historian. Without Manang Poe's activism, getting in that good trouble, you know, she changed things for the nurses. So thank you, Manang Poe. Next slide. Ate Chrissy and her family, lifetime members, lifetime family members, thank you. I guess you kind of have to be when you're a founding member, right? We've already heard from her, so next slide. Just kidding. Thank you for all that you do, Ate Christy. All right, now we're into our family members, and our first up is Dr. Pinky and her husband, Kevin. She's been an individual member since 2015. I believe she's one of the founding people for FAHMS, and now she brought in her husband this year, and they joined us as a family. Also, Dr. I can't see, hold on, I got my chat covering it. Dr. Nasirio De Leon, I believe that is Dr. Pinky's cousin and his family. Courtney De Leon, Teslin, and Luke. If you guys follow us, you noticed that Teslin had taken over our IG and put in some youth in our image. So thank you, Teslin. Laura, I want to say Gayer, but maybe it's Gallier. Thank you for being a family member. We don't have a photo of you, but if you're watching this, please send it to us so we can share and put a face to a name. Thank you. Now, individual members. We have Mr. Alan Aguilar, who's also a founding member of Filipinx Artists of Houston. He's an annual individual member. He had joined this year. He's actually on this Zoom. Do we want to hear from him? I don't know. He's kind of shy. Thank you, Al.
Hi, y'all.
Oh, okay. There he is. Woohoo!
Hi, Al.
Do you want to share a little bit on why you
Thanks for
decided to
joining.
join FAHMS or no?
Always been interested in Philippine history and Filipino American history, so it was pretty cool to be able to join the organization.
Well, thank you, and I hope you share your stories with the Houston Asian American Archive soon. All right, next slide. Leslie Campos. She's been an annual individual member since 2018. She is an awesome person to have as a member. Thank you. Woohoo! And if anyone's seen that meme of the tita doing the
Lizelle dancing, yes.
yes,
With her daughters. Lizelle has gone viral, yes. For that Michael Jackson dance, right? Like it was like I think of the theme song, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Next slide. Miss Perla Daly, aka Omera Sigina. She is hailing in from Austin. She is a new member. Thank you.
And she's an amazing artist and part of the Center of Bible Studies.
Yes, she painted that behind her. Miss Anna De La Cruz, she is our iCuento director and producer. She became a member this year, and we are so happy to have her involved with our marketing team.
She's on today as well if you want to say hello. Our director for iCuento will be launching that this coming October.
Anna, you here?
Yes. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Anna. Wait, you want to talk a little bit about iCuento?
I can. Yeah, definitely. I'm just so surprised there's a lot more of us now than in the previous meeting. I'm just looking at all these, all the new members, and almost everybody started 2020. That's just amazing.
Thank you so much.
And as our video project that you proposed to us, you want to talk about it because we are going to launch it this month.
Yes, so we started this project called iCuento, and it's a short documentary of FAHMS members, and it shares basically each individual's stories as a Filipino American here in Houston. So that's something to watch out for.
Thank you, Anna, and we appreciate all your hard work. We can't wait to showcase it this month.
Thank you.
And then our next individual new member is Danielle Erica. She is actually on here as well. I don't know if she is. She's been having spotty trouble with her Wi-Fi, but she
I'm
is
here.
Yay, she is here.
Yay!
She is our executive administrative director. You want to talk about why you decided to join FAHMS and then join the leadership team?
I decided to join FAHMS because I wanted to connect more with my own community and just find out more stuff about our culture. And I knew Ate Pinky through her sister who I went to school with, and so I would always hear about FAHMS, and she asked me if I want to be part of it, and then I joined, and now I'm part of the leadership team, and I'm just so excited for all the stuff we have planned for the future and to get this ball rolling this month.
Yay, thank you, Danielle. You are the best. Hurrah!
She's the best. She's the one launching all of our digital campaigns for this month. So every time you see a post, Danielle has carefully curated that as well as included blogs.
Oh,
on our
Dr. Pinky,
website.
you sound like a robot.
So thank you, Danielle.
Okay.
My auntie Mercy. Oh,
Yes, this is your auntie. Auntie Mercedes Mallory. She joined on behalf of Dr. Pinky for her birthday. So thank you. She is from California, but she is a member of the Houston, Texas chapter. We have Augie Ocampo. If you're here, she is the Filipino Young Professional Festival Chair. She is now an annual individual member since this year. She also joined during Dr. Pinky's campaign. Augie, if you're here, you want to talk a little bit more of why you decided to join FAHMS and maybe talk a little bit about FYP? Maybe she's not here. I thought she was. Okay. Maybe not.
it's okay.
She's on, but she's not on, so I don't know.
It's all good.
It's okay. She has a chance to talk at the end. All right, next slide, please. Our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Anthony Pabliano. He is also a new member just this year. He is on. Do you want to speak a little bit about why you decided to join FAHMS and why you're on the leadership team? Anthony.
Hello. So I joined FANHS because of the fact that the past few years I've been wanting to connect with the Filipino community in the Houston area. So FANHS is a perfect place, perfect opportunity, one of the perfect opportunities to do that. And I joined the organization because I believe in the mission, and I just want to help contribute to furthering our voice as a community here in Houston, in Texas, and in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. We so appreciate all your wisdom in the financial realm. He is so smart at what he does, and we are so thankful and blessed to have him as part of our organization.
And he's an amazing artist.
He is. He is. Not only is he good with numbers, he's good with cutting things and perspective. And anyway, buy his art. Okay, I'm also a new member. I just joined this year. I actually got involved as a volunteer last year because Auntie Christy pulled me in. Me and my husband, my husband too. He got involved as well. But we did a reading for the book Journey for Justice, and I just love the vibe. And she's the real deal, and you can't really mess with that. So the authenticity sold me, and that's why. Well, actually, Dr. Pinky kind of wore me down. She had me on the phone for like 3 hours until I said, okay, I'll be your vice president. My God. No, just kidding. I love it.
Thank you so much, Sybil. She's wonderful.
No, Dr. Pinky is the best. I will follow her into a fire because she knows exactly what she's talking about. Jun, I think he's on here too. He just re-upped his membership, so thank you for that. He's back. And we're actually going to make you do some work this time, June. So get ready.
June's going to be on a panel this Saturday with Anthony on October 3rd with the street cuentos or the street. I'm sorry, I don't know the full title.
It's called Cuento ng Calzada. At the M is also going to be on it, and yeah, y'all will learn about our trip to Seattle and visiting the FAHMS archives and how important it is to chronicle and also document our own histories within our own city and also in Seattle. So yeah, I'll share the link. So hopefully y'all come out.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Auntie Emily, for putting that link in the chat box. So our next individual member is Joseph Pete Brito. I think he also joined during your birthday shout out.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He's a friend from FYP from back in the day. So thank you, Pete.
Is he on? Does he want to talk and share why he decided to join? No. That's okay. And then last but not least, we have Judy Trent. I know she's here. I saw her in here. She just re-upped her membership. Thank you. And I believe she's also Auntie Christy's sister.
Hi, yeah, I'm here. I just turned my video off because I'm cooking and I was working out a little earlier and I'm trying to get some privacy because everybody's running around here. But thank you for introducing me, Sybil. I'm happy to be here. I'm not sure how many years so far. I renewed yesterday, so I always remember when it's close to Christy's birthday, I have to renew. So I'm a project manager, usually working as a consultant on different projects, and I also coach CrossFit. So maybe we could do a Zoom workout one day.
Yes.
That'd be so awesome.
Thank you so much, Judy. She's so supportive.
Yeah, I'm just a baby at CrossFit, though. Let's do yoga instead. All right. So here's my presentation why you should become a member today and join all those wonderful people I just introduced you to. But first, before we talk about that, you have to know what is our mission, because in order to become a member, you have to believe in our mission and also follow our mission. So FAHMS National put this out, and they conduct research and studies, gather, promote, and disseminate published works on Filipino American history, provide a repository for research and gathered materials, create exhibits, promote and hold forums and public programs, and sponsor fundraising events to accomplish these purposes. Now, the Houston, Texas chapter is number 32. So I believe there are over 35, is it 37 chapters, I believe?
We're close to, I think, 38 at this point. We're nearing 40. So maybe Dallas could be a chapter.
Yeah, because so far Houston is Houston is the only chapter in Texas, and we currently also have the Midwest Board trustee who lives in Houston, Auntie Christy. So everybody give her a round of applause. She is making big waves in the national level.
And Dallas has Emily, so.
This is true, and she is the El Jefe, the Presidente of the whole thing. So it's a Texas takeover.
She put in the chat that she's ready to start a Dallas chapter. She put in the chat, so she called out the Dallas folks on the call. So she's
gonna take out our Dallas members. But that's okay.
It's okay, but we got privileges, right, Sybil? So tell them.
Yes. So membership has its privileges, and you ask, what are they? Well, let me tell you what they are. You can tell your story and create an archive for future generations, be documented in history, be invited to and vote in the FAHMS national meeting. There's biennial, which we were supposed to have this year in Hawaii. There's one in 2012 in Seattle, and then here in Houston, 2024. You'll have access to exclusive FANHS-HTX member-only events, participate in community programs, and receive the quarterly FANHS-HTX newsletter, where we inform you about all the good things that our organization is doing and what else is happening in the national scale. Because it's important. Your story matters. Not only are you telling your story to the community, but also to the future generations to come. So what kind of membership types do we have? We have individual, we have family, we have college students, full-time, part-time, and senior citizens for 62 years and plus. We offer annual, decade, or lifetime membership levels. And in the next slide, you'll see how much each level costs. So I always want to promote the decade or lifetime because you do save some money going that route. And if you do lifetime, then we don't bug you every year or every 10 years, but we will make you tell your stories. And if you're a college student, it's $10 a year, same with senior citizens. So, I mean, that's the price of a cup of coffee, y'all. So instead of buying Starbucks, become an annual member. You'll be supporting a great org. All right, and then
because it is October and it is Filipino American History Month. If you join or renew your membership this month, so you have 31 days to decide to become a member, you will receive a surprise gift. Woo, 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 woo. So you could get a book, you could get a t-shirt, you could get a hoop rag, or even something much cooler. If you have any questions, please email FANHS-HTX@gmail.com. Our web address to join is FANHS-HTX.com/get involved. I stayed up till 2 in the morning last night revamping our website to make it much easier for you to sign up. So please do.
Yes, please support. Thank you so much, Sybil, for that. All right, moving on to free prizes. Another prize. Question, get into that chat box. What is one example of Phil-Am Texas activism shared today by Ate Christy Poiseau? Please type it in, type it in, type it in. Please, please, please. Yes, Ate Emma says we can have members in multiple chapters. So yes, okay, well, even better. Definitely, let's get more chapters in Texas. And let's all support each other. So I want to hear from you all. What is one example of Phil-Am Texas activism shared today by Ate Christy? Come on, we got a free prize on the line. Do you all remember?
Oi, wake up.
Let's see.
Huh, are you paying attention?
Mark says, sharing our story. Well, we did share our story. That is correct, right? But there are 4 particular memes that we kind of went through. Yes, Jenna, that is correct. Passing the Congressional Gold Medal, which is part of Filipino World War II veterans. And so you have won the prize, Miss Jenna Maravilla. Okay. Another question. When is the last day to register to vote? Last month, right? We're still trying to process that all through. And we've got, all right. Anthony Guevara has said October 5th, but dude, you already do that work. I'm not gonna include you, Anthony. We're gonna go with the next one. We're gonna go with Al. He said October 5th. That is correct. October 5th is the last day to vote, and election day, don't forget to vote, November 3rd. Jenna gets her own book and give it to Alan. That's a very good point. Okay. Now, we've talked about everything about, this, what we're doing here in FAHMS Houston, Texas chapter, but I want to introduce to you A.V. David, who's done an amazing job connecting all the networks throughout Texas and introducing something on a local level here in Texas, what we're doing to celebrate Filipino American History Month. And so let's give it up for my homegirl here, AV. She works nonstop for community activism. She is an activist herself. And so we are so excited to have her today and all the folks. And after she speaks, we're gonna go ahead and open it up to the floor for everyone to share their activities. So AV, come on down.
Thank you, Ate Pinky. I wasn't sure if you were able to get my slides on time. Should I share my screen?
Yes, I got your slides. It's in there.
Cool. All right. So thank you to FAHMS and thank you to Ate Pinky for inviting Texas Familia to share tonight. So I was asked to just kind of share the theme that we're doing this year. So to commemorate the Filipino American History Month this year, various organizations in Texas are coming together under the theme TX Familia or Texas Familia, celebrating culture, bayanihan, and solidarity. We're going to have different webinars, social media campaigns, workshops, cultural activities to lift up Filipino culture, experiences, and interests and concerns. So, as everyone know, during this pandemic, the global community is facing challenges and uncertainties, right? And for the Filipino community, the impact is actually very disproportionate since a lot of our kabayans are in the medical field. Here in the US, almost 1/3 of nurses who passed away due to COVID are Filipino, even if Filipinos only account for 4% of nurses here in this country. And during this pandemic, we've also met hundreds of young J1 hospitality workers who were neglected, out of job and needing support. while in the Philippines, there has been insufficient response to the pandemic, and typhoons and earthquakes also continue to hit communities during this pandemic. We chose TX Familia, Texas Familia, because amidst these difficulties, we don't let this pandemic, these tragedies, and these sufferings define us. We rise up to the challenge and give a helping hand to our fellow kababayan and those in need. We promote Filipino small businesses. We find resources for the unemployed. We donate food and rent support for J1 workers and advocate for their rights and welfare. And we also lift up our Filipino health workers and advocate for their safety. So it's our culture, it's our strong bayanihan spirit of collective action and our solidarity with the Filipinos in the Philippines and with other communities that we would like to highlight. We are a family, we are Texas Familia, we are united, and we ensure to lift each other up. And as long as we have that familia spirit, we always have something to celebrate.
That's so beautiful. I love that piece. Thank you so much, Avi. And so you can talk a little bit about who's joined together.
Yep, yeah, and so there's different organizations who have signed up, and more organizations, we're inviting more organizations, so it's definitely not closed. So more folks can join the Texas Familia. So these just are some of the organizations, I know some of them are present tonight. So FAHMS is there, Unipro, FYP Houston. So thanks to everyone who has signed up already. And yeah, invite other organizations who also want to be part of this Familia and be able to collaborate and coordinate activities this month.
Absolutely. I want to read out all of the different folks who are part of this, and hopefully I can see it. Maybe you can help me out. So who do we have here, Avi?
Yeah, so we have NAFCON, the National Alliance for Filipino Concerns. We have SIPA, the Southern Intercollegiate Filipino Alliance. Unipro, Texas. We also have FYP Austin, FYP Houston, the Filipino Young Professionals. We have FANHS-HTX Houston. We have the Philippine Association of Beaumont, Texas. We also have the Southeast Asian InterVarsity. We have the FSAs at the Houston Baptist University, at RGV, at UTA, and also at UNT, Arlington and North Texas. And we also have Tropical Rhythms signing up to be part of the Texas Familia.
Wonderful. And growing.
And growing, yes.
So technically your activism is bringing people together and being anti-crab mentality and not to divide, but to unite.
Yes, we definitely want a united community of Filipinos here in Texas. And these are just some of the initial events in this calendar. There are more people signing up, so we will definitely update the calendar as there's more events. We can even add the event on Saturday that's happening, where I think Anthony will be speaking. So yeah, we want to update this calendar. If there's more activities happening this month, we want to add it to our Texas Familia calendar.
This is so great, folks. So looking at this calendar, I know there's a lot going on in the latter half, but this gives everyone an opportunity wherever you are, to participate in any way, shape, or form. So thank you so much, Avi, for sharing that. I know you also had provided a couple more slides here.
Oh yeah, so in contribution to the Texas Familia, some of the NAFCON initiatives are, we do want to highlight Filipino small businesses this month as part of celebrating FAM. So if you know of any Filipino businesses who do want to get promoted, we are hosting giveaways as NAFCON Texas. So we do have a sign up link in our link tree. So we want to highlight you if you're a Filipino small business. And the next one is also in line with Filipino American History Month. We are extending our survey to find out more about the needs of our communities. So we have a community and culture survey that we've put out, and we ask that you share it with your family, with your friends. We want to know what our community needs so we can cater our programs to that. And last but not the least, a couple of our webinars happening this month that are related to health and wellness are Migration and Mental Health on October 21st. And also Nasaan ang mga NARS, or Influx of Filipino Nurses in America, on October 27. So I think it would be great to invite Tita Jo to be part of this too, since it was really inspiring, her story as a Filipino nurse there in Houston Methodist Hospital.
Absolutely, such great programming. And so with that in mind, since Avi has talked about the calendar as well as her organization, we want to go ahead and open up the floor and hear about you all, especially the orgs that are working together to put on the calendar and to share personally and to promote here. We are recording it, and we will share this recording on our Facebook and on our YouTube. So it's going to be evergreen. And so let's continue doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here so that we can all see each other. Just last but not least, we have some of our information here, so just capture that. And let's go ahead and see who we've got left, and thank everybody who has stayed this entire time on our town hall, which is amazing. We had over 24 people here, and probably more will be watching as we post this. So let's go and say hello. I know there's a couple of us who already said hi, so I'm gonna go around the table if I don't mind. I'm gonna popcorn a couple of folks, okay? All right, I see Miss Jenna here. We haven't heard from you yet.
Oh, hello. Hi. So I'm Jenna. I am co-author of Filipinos in Houston with Ate Christy. She pulled me in after realizing that, you know, I left nursing and have always wanted to help write. I've met some wonderful people through that project, and it really built my confidence to pivot my life. Oh, it's one of the twins. Hello. And since then, I've been slowly building my own small business alongside the community work that I do with Unipro Texas and FXAH, which is Filipinx Artists in Houston, where I met Sybil and Anthony. And yeah, no, that's a little bit about me. If you need help with words, just hit me up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jenna, for sharing. She's an amazing community activist as well, and is fighting with her words. So thank you so much. I want to popcorn over to Joel or Joelle Ringer. I haven't spoken with you or met with you, and love to hear about you.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joel Ringer, and I work for AIG. And you know, while at AIG, I was involved with what's called an employee resource group, and it was called the Asian Affinity Network. I'm still involved with that. And working through organizations like that, I'm also involved with Toastmasters. And in the past, I've been involved with Filipino organizations that were non-secular. And the reason why I'm here now is I'm interested in obviously more secular organizations. I have a young daughter, a teenage, that I'd like to share our heritage with. I was born in Manila, but came to Houston when I was about 4 years old, and have basically grown up Texan. And I'm just looking now at this point in my life, the best way that I can use my time, money, and my energy to connect with the community about a passion that's very dear to me. So I came here as an observer, and everything that I've seen and heard is great. I really appreciate the programming, all the stories that I've heard, and I'm looking forward to connecting, joining, and seeing how we can all work together and promote the mission. Thank you.
That is so great. Oh, look, we're all clapping.
Oh,
So,
sorry. So I did train, or started like 3 years ago, training with an Arnis group.
Okay.
So that's something that, you know, we've always talked about, teaching self-protection, trying to get more people involved. I've attended the Filipino street festivals in years past, and I know that there's a lot of organizations there, and I've always kind of been involved in the background with Filipino community outreach organizations through my mother and my stepfather, who is actually related to Sybil. So.
Oh, so that's the connection. I was just thinking, oh, he just found us, you know, organically. I'm like, this is great. You know, our marketing is really working, but even better, you know someone. That's
Yeah,
a
no.
form of outreach.
But I did find y'all's group on Facebook, and it just happened to
The
be that
Eskrima group,
civil.
actually, Bahala ground dwellers on North Side, they are they're founding members. So the Eskrima group here in Houston. So if you connect with them.
Yeah,
We're so glad to
group
have you,
that I-
Joel.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Welcome. We hope you become a member, if not already. So thank you so much for joining tonight and celebrating kicking us off. So, all right, y'all, give him a warm welcome. Now, someone that I've seen from the last town hall meeting and we met for the first time is Miss Karina. She is back, my theater gal. Welcome us, please.
Yes, hello. I'm back. I'm back again. Yes, this is my second meeting, and as you guys were talking, I was like, oh, I really should join. I should make it official and join. But I do have some exciting news to share with you guys. So I'm part of Filipinx Artists of Houston. And for many years before I met other Filipinos, I've been working with a group called the Catastrophic Theater. So we're doing a little experiment right now called Drama Squad. And so we have 2 teams of 5 group of artists who have all been asked to present their own story and use their team members. So I have actually written a retelling of a Filipino folktale. And so if you go to the Catastrophic website, this is available. We are coming out to people's front yards and backyards. It's suggested is $50 a person, but it's pay what you want. You can have up to 10 people in your yard. In 1999, I was in New York, and it was Philippine Independence Day, and I found a book in a bookshop that was like treasuries of Philippine stories, different myths and folktales, and I've always wanted to stage it. So I had this opportunity, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. So it's the first iteration of this idea in my head, and it's and yeah, so it's a Fugao myth, the choosy maiden of the 4th heaven. And so wish me luck, guys. I'm bringing it to Houston audiences, whoever will listen.
We will listen. Yes, we'll be supporting her, folks. Yes, we will.
Oh,
this is amazing. Thank you for coming back, and hopefully you do become a member. And
yes,
we'd love to share that event on our calendar and have that promoted. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, who else do we have here? We have his name has been mentioned several times in our town hall today, and now we get to see his guapo face, Mr. Mark Sampello, in the house.
Hi, thank you for having me. Thank you for holding this town hall. I'm co-president of UNIPRO Texas, but attribute FAHMS to helping ignite fire into why I do community work. One of my memorable moments was 2016. It was Day of Storytelling. There was an intergenerational dialogue. We watched the Delano Manong's documentary, and I remember Tita Joanna Poe just sharing her story. She's a legend, trailblazer, and we were all just crying. I'm about to cry because I remember that day. But she faced a lot of prejudice and racism, and one of the things that was so incredible about her, she was trying to buy a house, but they wouldn't let her buy a house because of the color of her skin. And she paid it in cash. She's like, my cash is as green as yours. So thank you, FAHMS, for just collecting our stories and just sharing, you know, our rich history. But yeah, thank you for having me here. UNIPRO, we collaborate a lot with FAHMS, and we're just so thankful for an organization that just educates and empowers our community.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it. And you're always such a light to all of us. So thank you. Next up, speaking of UNIPRO, I want to give it up to Ms. Trisha Morales. If she's still there, I know her video is not on, but she is super down here in the community, not only organizing the FAHM community, but in the API community in general, and she's an artist. So please welcome Trisha Morales.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here again. just like Mark, I am also very thankful for FAHMS. I feel like Ate Christy, you were definitely that, you were that, Kuya Anthony as well, and even you Ate Pinky, I feel like you guys ignited that fire within us, so thank you. So I'm the director of marketing for Unipro Texas. We do a lot of different things as well. We have our leadership retreat where we collaborate with CIFA and all of the 13 colleges within the universities, and we talk about our identity. We kind of break it down. And we also have our Kalusan workshops, which means like a movement. So we use movement as a way to get folks into their bodies, but also moving forward to a call to action with specific issues. We have the Lumika Art Showcase where we feature a bunch of artists throughout Texas and also nationally. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of work within the last 4 years. It's been an interesting, amazing, beautiful journey. And also, like Ate Pinky said, I work with OCA right now part-time and are actually having our racial justice workshops. So this month, the plan is to actually do, hopefully, a panel with discussing Delano Manong. So folks in Houston, I feel like Mark mentioned, the first film that we had to use for storytelling with FAHMS was Delano Manong's, and I cried. Like, I cried like crazy. And then Manong, Joanna told her story, and I think that's the most, again, documentation of history is so important. Like, and I'm sure Ate Pinky and Ate Christy will talk about this. Like, it's so important. So to be able to share that with everyone outside of the community and in the community is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna just, yeah. I'm done. Okay.
she's gonna cry.
Sorry. Okay. Anyways,
yeah, but we do. We need people to come to the racial justice panels that we're organizing. Who's not here, but she did stop by before I saw her. Ria. Ria. Again, I don't want to say her last name wrong because I always see the I and the E, and I don't want to mess it up. Sampilo, Trisha, excuse me, Ria Sampilo, along with Trish and I are collaborating together to make sure we get that done, as well as these racial justice bystander intervention training that I'll be doing or training and hosting as well as part of my own work in the community, in the API and general community. So yes, now. We are on time. It is 8:57. And so I think we heard from each person already, at least throughout the slides or throughout the presentation, and then even afterwards. But let's take this, last couple of minutes. If there's anyone who would like to share or bring up any comments or invite anyone to anything, this is the time to make those announcements in your individual way.
Oh, can I talk?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just want to say thank you to all the people that I invited to be here, Joel and Karina. I really appreciate you for being here because you make me look like I'm doing my job. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sybil, for doing that outreach.
Also, I'd like to invite everybody tomorrow for NAFA. We have a Filipino American History Month celebration with Congressman TJ Cox, Congressman Bobby Scott, Assemblyman Rob Bonta, Mayor Ron Falcone, Ambassador Jose Manuel Romualdez, Mayor Pro Tem Rochelle Arizmendi, a bunch of people, also historical Filipino food showcase with Nicole Ponseca of Jeepney, New York, and Christine Dela Cruz. I put it in the chat. Y'all are welcome to that. And then also, again, with Ate M, we have Cuento ng Calzada on Saturday. So hope y'all can attend.
Absolutely. Let's get that on the calendar as well. Tita Joanna?
But I have a question, or not really, just an observation.
Yes.
I have 4 grandchildren who are mixed. So I'm just wondering, what are we doing with those Filipinos that have mixed family? I have...
That's very good. Actually, half the folks on this call or on this Zoom, Tita, have mixed families.
I know.
Sybil is going like this.
I know. That's why I started showing her like this. I'm just concerned because my two grandkids right here in Houston. I have two. One is a college graduate. The other one is in the Air Force, ROTC in U.H. And I'm just wondering how could we get them involved? Because I always talk to my grandchildren about Filipinos and going to the Philippines and show them what all our native things, what we're doing, the dancing, the singing. And I have two other grandkids over in Boston also that are very interested. So I'm sure the other family are also interested to get their children involved. So I'm just wondering if we have any plan or thing to reach out for those kids so they will not lose where they came from.
Tita, that's such a great question, and we could answer it in so many multiple ways because each person here in this room is doing some type of outreach to what you would consider youth. And so for those of us who are here in this virtual space, this is our call and our challenge. I don't want to only just advocate for FANHS-HTX, but obviously we are going to outreach to the youth, to your family, but we have multiple organizations here who can also support on multiple levels and layers. Like I said, just because maybe that person may not necessarily connect with one particular mission doesn't mean they don't connect with another mission that's in this space, in this room. And I think that's all part of that collaboration, right? And even that Bayanihan spirit, we're going to work together to reach out to your grandchildren. And I've met them, right? So it's just a matter of continuing to connect with each of them and kind of see where they are. And it's not just Lola or Grandma telling me to do this. It's out of their own kusa, right? Kusa is their own intuition or their own initiative to do this. So hopefully that addresses your answer. If there's anyone else here in the room who wants to say anything.
Sybil is showing her
my
voice.
Kids, I think my kids like to go to a lot of the Filipinx collaborative artist events that FANHS and Unipro, like the Lumika was one where my daughter, she's mixed, but it also appealed to her artist side too. So that was helpful for her to kind of help connect on that narrative. So, but always the food. Everybody connects on food. So, but no, we could think of something, Pizza Joe. Let's dream up an idea.
Yeah, I think we need to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns before we close out tonight?
Oh, I just wanted to say one last thing for Unipro's initiative. Please follow Unipro now on Instagram. We have a post per day of this month that fits in with the activists theme that FANHS has. And yeah.
That's amazing. Wonderful. Let's follow that. There's so much education on even just the use of social media, right? And so follow all of those that we have said tonight, and you will get really a free education, a free Filipino American Studies, free Asian American Studies education, just even through social media, especially for those out here. At least where we're at here in Houston, we unfortunately do not have a specific Filipino American Studies course. And so this is one way, we can reach out to the youth as well and to those who want to learn more. Yes. And so with that in mind, we are now officially kicking off Filipino American History Month. Happy month to everybody. And we're so happy that we are all here today, safe and healthy. And I wish you and your families also safety and health and love and peace as we celebrate this month. And so thank you, everybody. You can unmute yourselves and just kind of greet everybody. Usually in my family, after a prayer, we say, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to everyone as we end things. So thank you very much.
Bye. Say bye. Bye, guys.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye. Salamat.
Salamat.